It's time for the Douglas Coleman Show. Mr. Smooth and Savvy is joined by guests from all walks of life, from the entertainment industry to authors to political and social commentators, the famous and not so famous, the controversial and the light and fluffy. We have it all. Now, here's Douglas Coleman.
Okay, please welcome to the Douglas Coleman Show, Roxana Arama. Hello, Roxana. How are you?
Hi, thank you for having me here. I'm doing great, thank you.
Well, thank you for coming on the show. It's nice to have you here. So you've got a new book out called Extreme Vetting. Is this your first published book, or have you done other work?
This is my debut novel.
Your debut novel, okay. All right, well, it looks like it's getting all kinds of great reviews. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about the book?
So it's a legal thriller that takes place in Seattle, Washington in 2019, and it's about an immigration lawyer who's trying to keep her client from being deported to the country where his family was murdered many years ago. Then she finds out that the killers are coming here for both of them, and they both have families and children, and it's a very dangerous, tense situation. Okay,
is there any reality to the story? I mean, did this really happen? Or is it complete fiction?
This is, all the characters are fictional, yes. But I studied a lot of news articles about immigration. When I was researching my book, I also extensively interviewed an immigration lawyer who also answered questions as I was revising the manuscript. I also studied the court documents for 2 criminal cases in Washington state where ICE officials were sentenced to prison for defrauding undocumented immigrants. And this is actually the kernel of the story, is this kind of corruption that happens.
Okay, so...
But the characters themselves are all fictional, yes.
Oh, all right. Okay. You were born in Romania, is that correct? And you moved to the United States?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
did you have any difficulties with your immigration?
Oh, my immigration was the easiest kind of immigration. It was hard for me because it's hard to immigrate for anybody, but I had all the help I could get from the software company that hired me. So when I came here, a lawyer took care of the immigration process. I had a relocation specialist. I had everything. I even had lessons, driving lessons and language lessons that the company gave me, like to get a kickstart to get to get more accustomed to America. But it was still hard because I would just mess up little things that they were just basic things about like weather and traffic. They were confusing to me. So it was hard. It took me a few years to be able to, for instance, participate in like lunch conversations with my coworkers where I would actually understand the jokes because most of them were based on pop culture that I didn't get. And so it was even at that level, it was difficult and sometimes kind of heartbreaking, but I had the best kind of immigration. It still took me 9 years to get my citizenship because it was after 9/11 and everything was, slowed down by all the new framework that was vetting immigrants even then. So it took, with everything going on for me, it took me almost 9 years to get my citizenship.
What were some of the things that you noticed right away that were different about the United States? Or things that you said aside from the jokes in the lunchroom, but I mean, were there any other differences that you noticed?
Everything was different.
Everything was different.
Everything was bigger. I come from Eastern Europe, and we were at the time where we were emerging from communism there. So it wasn't like now. So I came 22 years ago. Actually, my novel was published exactly 22 years since the day I arrived to Seattle as an immigrant with borrowed money in my pocket. At the time, Romania wasn't yet part of the EU, and it was struggling economically. And everything, when I came here, everything was big, and I couldn't quite understand. Like I had been used to live very small because, I had to get a car just to get anywhere. I had to have a car. Like I couldn't just walk for miles and miles to get to the grocery store. Everything was just very different. getting a car. And then the moment I got in the car, my car got a flat tire, and I didn't know what to do. Like, I had no concept of what a flat tire is. So imagine that kind of level of incompetence on my part as I came here. I was alone. I came here by myself because I got a job. So it was quite, but I was also young, and I could take those kind of challenges. I would always okay, so let's see what we do now, that sort of thing. So, but it was, I wouldn't want to go through that process again. It was complicated.
Did you get sponsored to come with the job that you said you got? Yeah.
Yes, I got a job in computer development, software development. I was a software development engineer.
Oh, all right. Okay, great. Now you're just doing writing full time?
Yes.
Okay. I see on your bio on your website actually that you have other books published. Is that correct?
Well, there are collections of short stories that I'm part of, but yeah. But this is as a standalone. This is my book. This is my first book.
Oh, okay. And it is out. It released?
Yeah, in February 2003. Yeah.
Oh, it came out in 2003?
2023, sorry.
2023.
Sorry, 2023.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
So this year. Sorry about that.
That's okay. So it's been out just a couple of months. And yeah, I see the reviews are great. Looks like it's doing fine. Are you going to write any more?
Yeah, I'm finishing up a sci-fi thriller that also has immigration themes. Yeah, I'm almost finished revising this manuscript, and I'm gonna figure out how to publish it next. Yes.
All right. There's a lot of talk about immigration right now, particularly the border, the southern border. What do you think about all of that that's going on? Do you think that is too wide open, or do you think that it should be like that? What do you think?
The thing is, it's a complex. It's really a complicated subject, and I wouldn't do it any favor if I just had one answer. It's like there's so many cases that the best person to ask about this is actually an immigration lawyer, like the way I interviewed an immigration lawyer for extreme vetting, where most of the time I would go to the immigration lawyer and I would say, like, what do you think is happening here at the border, for instance? Or who do you think is responsible for this policy? Should be the Department of Homeland Security or the Department of Justice? Who is dealing with this? And in this family situation, which one should prevail? And the immigration lawyer would always tell me, like, almost always, it'd be like, it depends. It depends, because we have such a complicated framework for immigration that is outdated, that was created in response for governments oppressing their citizens, where now it's more like global cartels controlling swaths of different countries together, and there's no real legal framework for that, and we're really behind on that. And so in order to understand what's going on the border, we have to understand what forces or dynamics are at the border, and that is a very complicated problem. So even on my website, which is roxanaarama.com, so it's just my name.com, RoxanaArama.com, I actually do have a list of, a few things that if you have any questions about the immigration system, a few points that I lined up by talking to the immigration lawyer. And usually you really need to speak to a specialist about this, because as I explained in the book, the immigration rules and regulation can change sometimes from week to week, and definitely from administration to administration. So when I wrote my book in 2019, I wrote it in that framework. What's happening now is very different. So in order for me to address this, I would have to go in a lot of detail, and I don't have time here, because otherwise I wouldn't do justice to this question.
Okay. Do you think it's wise for people just to show up or try to even cross illegally?
I think it's a heartbreaking decision for them to make. Nobody leaves their home country because they are just bored with it. And especially the ones who have to bring their kids, to put their kids in serious mortal danger to get here. We have to see what drove them from their country, because it's so hard to leave your country behind, to leave your culture, to leave your language, to leave your family, to leave your customs, to leave everything you know that you've been born with, that you've ever known behind. That is it's like almost nobody leaves their country because they have it too good. Like they're just bored with it. They leave because something terrible happened to them there. So we have to understand it that way. We have to look at it. What is actually causing these people to leave? Because nobody leaves because they're just bored and just,
Well, that's true. I mean, it is a complicated issue, and you see both sides of the story where people want to have a wall, finish the wall, and just shut the border down, to people who want to take a more humanitarian approach to it. I find it difficult to watch because, like you said, you see all of these families with little children, and it is a big risk. And you hear the stories about the coyotes and the cartels who are taking everybody's money, and there is great danger for these people to leave.
Yeah, and I'll also add that growing up in Romania under communism, we had our borders closed. Our borders were closed. We had military on the border. People in Romania were trying to get out. They were trying to escape, and they couldn't get out. Versus here in America, people can get in, But the idea of border has always this kind of like strict borders enforced by military patrolling has been. It's a very touchy subject for me. Like I viscerally feel that it's wrong to do that. There must be some other ways, and we are not even having that conversation. We're just talking about enforcing or not enforcing the border. But I feel like we have to talk about our humanity. We have to talk about all these people are just human beings like. We are all human beings. We if we actually understand what they're going through, we might be able to find solutions that are better fit for their problems. And this is what my novel wanted to achieve. Wanted to give readers who are not familiar with immigration just a sense of what it feels like to be an immigrant, what it feels like to be uprooted and to try to build a country in a new land that is not the one you were born in. And I just took my readers on a journey I didn't tell them this is good and this is bad. I was like, here it is. This is really based on reality and my experience of being an immigrant, of all my research. And this is what a typical, the typical life of an immigrant in America is like. Do you think this is something so easy that people are just jumping to get it just for fun? Or do you think that this is actually hard? And I just wanted, I'm not actually giving people and writing the answer. I'm just showing them the path. I'm taking them inside the immigration system. I'm showing them how complex it is legally. Like I told you, it took me almost 9 years to get my citizenship. For some people, there is no path to citizenship. They're just blocked in some, in limbo forever. And they have children who are American citizens who cannot actually feel the full advantage of being an American citizen because they're afraid for their families being deported, and it's a very heartbreaking situation. And I'm just asking readers to give us a chance to look at what immigration looks like, because in this country right now, the conversation about immigration is very polarized and simplified, and this is not a subject that can be simplified of all things. I mean, this is actually very complicated.
Yeah, unfortunately, the entire country is divided like that, and not just on the issue of immigration, but basically on everything. And it's difficult to sort of see the actual picture when you get just, like you said, very simplified answers on opposite ends of the political spectrum. So maybe your book will help with this particular issue. The book is called Extreme Vetting, and my guest is Roxana Arama. I never get your name right. Yep. I'm sorry. I always get a struggle through.
Roxana Arama.
Okay. Well, we do have to wind this down. Again, give out your website again, please.
It's just my name, RoxanaArama.com, RoxanaArama.com.
Okay. And there's information about the book there, and the book is available.
How you can buy the book. Yeah, it's available at bookstores, online retailer, libraries. Yeah, and you can read the first chapter. You can see the reviews. You can see interviews. Yeah.
Okay. Well, the book looks like it's doing very well, so congratulations for that. And
thank you so much.
Best of luck. Hope to see more work from you.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.